There are feelings that arrive softly, not as demands, not as declarations, but as subtle wishes that live beneath the surface of a woman's strength. She moves through life with capable hands. She solves. She decides. She navigates the noise and the pressure of responsibility. To the world, she appears entirely self-led. And she is. But somewhere deeper, where instinct speaks more quietly than ambition, there is a gentle desire to not always be the one steering, to rest inside someone's steady certainty, to surrender, not power, but tension. This longing does not announce itself loudly. It whispers in moments when exhaustion hides beneath dignity. It appears when she is tired of being the one who always knows what to do, when strength feels less like empowerment and more like armor. Because strength, when carried without pause, becomes weight, and weight, when never shared, becomes loneliness. She does not want someone to command her. She does not wish to obey. The world too often misunderstands her desire. They confuse softness with submission, misread trust as dependence. The truth is simpler. She wants to be met, not managed, to be guided, not governed, to feel a presence beside her strong enough that her heart can breathe. There is a difference between giving power away and choosing to release control. One is loss. The other is freedom. A woman who longs to be led knows this difference intuitively. She wants to lean without losing balance. She wants to feel held without being confined. She wants to follow a moment, not a command. Often she hides this desire, not out of shame but out of protection, because the world has not always been kind to women who ask for tenderness, and so she learns to carry herself. She learns to cope. She learns to be enough for herself, even when part of her wishes she didn't have to be. There is dignity in independence, but sometimes independence is not a choice but a survival stance. She has known men who mistook her softness for a doorway to power. She has known moments where trust felt like danger, and so she built her strength with a quiet fierceness, a loyalty to her own voice. Yet the longing remains, not constant, not desperate, just present, like a pulse under the skin, a reminder that even strength is human, and humans are wired for shared safety. Sometimes it shows up in the way she sighs when someone finally takes responsibility beside her. Sometimes in the way her shoulders soften when she feels understood instead of admired. Not every woman feels this, and not every woman who does wants it in the same way. But for those who carry this gentle wish, it is not fantasy or fragility, it is instinct. The biology of trust, the psychology of rest, the ancient rhythm of partnership. In her quiet moments when no eyes are on her, she may imagine a presence beside her, not ahead, not above, not behind, beside. Someone calm enough to ground her, steady enough to guide her, deep enough to meet her, soft enough to listen, strong enough to stay. She does not need someone to save her. She has already saved herself. She simply wants what many hearts crave once safety is learned, a place where strength can unclench, a moment where she can exhale without planning the next inhale. A space where being held does not mean being owned, to be led but never controlled, to rest without losing herself, to trust without disappearing. The longing is not a weakness, it is a truth. Even the strongest hearts sometimes want to be guided, not because they cannot lead, but because they deserve the peace of not leading alone. Every longing has a birthplace, not always a dramatic one. Sometimes it begins in quiet rooms, where childhood eyes watch the way love moves. A girl learns about safety, not from words, but from presence. She learns strength from tone, trust, from consistency, and comfort from the way someone shows up or doesn't. She watches the adults around her, as if they are early chapters in her own script. Sometimes she sees leadership done softly, a father who holds responsibility with calm hands, a mother who gives trust without losing her voice. She sees harmony, and somewhere in her young heart, a blueprint forms. Strength can guide without overshadowing. Love can lead without conquering. Other times she sees the opposite, dominance mistaken for direction, control disguised as care, silence used as power. She learns where tenderness was supposed to be, but never arrived. She learns caution, self-reliance, a premature independence. And in the spaces where protection should have lived, she grows her own wings. Not because she always wanted to, but because she had to. Some girls grow up watching mothers carry everything. The planning, the emotional holding, the gentle lifting of what others dropped. They see a woman who leads life because there is no one else to, and they admire her strength, even as they quietly wish she didn't have to be so strong. They learn the weight of responsibility before they ever learn the comfort of shared support. And what a woman grows up carrying, she often continues to carry, until someone shows her she doesn't always have to. Stories shape the nervous system in ways we don't see. We inherit the emotional climates we survive in. A girl who grew up in chaos will crave steadiness. A girl who grew up unseen will crave presence. A girl who grew up overprotected will crave freedom, even as she longs for guidance. Every origin is different, yet each thread weaves into the same quiet longing to trust someone enough to soften, not to disappear into them, but to feel safe enough to exhale in their presence. Cultural voices speak too. They tell women to be soft, then shame softness. They celebrate strength, then punish assertiveness. They hand out scripts that contradict themselves. Be independent, but not too distant. Be tender, but not too trusting. Lead your life, but don't intimidate. Follow, but never look weak. And so many women grow up learning a single fragile truth. The world rarely knows what to do with their power or their need for protection. They begin to believe they must choose, soft or strong, leader or follower, armor or vulnerability. But childhood dreams never disappear. They only mature. A girl who once wished for safety becomes a woman who wishes for partnership. A girl who once craved direction becomes a woman who craves steady presence. She does not want someone to take over her world, only someone capable of entering it without causing harm. In her memories are moments that shaped her trust. Perhaps a hand she once held tightly, perhaps a voice she once leaned toward, perhaps the absence of both. Somewhere in those memories, the longing formed, for once let someone else hold the map. And yet within her same history, a protective vow quietly formed too. Never let anyone steer me into silence. This is the paradox that grows from early life experience, the wish to be led, paired with the sacred refusal to ever be controlled. She wants presence without pressure, guidance without force, leadership that recognizes her voice and never tries to replace it. Her childhood taught her both desires, the yearning to trust and the wisdom to protect herself until trust is earned. It begins there, how in early moments, in quiet observations, in inherited instincts and learned defenses. A woman is not born longing to be led. She learns the longing as she learns the world. And deep down, she hopes this time, when she reaches out for steady hands, they will reach back gently, not to grip but to hold. Beneath romance myths and social narratives, there is a nervous system at work, a biology built for connection, a psychology shaped by safety and threat. Humans do not bond through logic alone. They bond through co-regulation, the quiet exchange of stability, tone, and presence. The moment when one nervous system rests, because another one feels steady enough. For many women, the desire to be gently led emerges not from dependency, but from evolution. The longing for a reliable presence is wired into attachment. Attachment. Theory explains it simply. Secure connection does not weaken autonomy. It strengthens it. When a person feels emotionally safe, their system relaxes, their voice becomes clearer, their decisions feel grounded. Safety expands identity. It never erases it. A woman who longs to be led is often a woman who leads all day, in work, in decisions, in emotional labor. Leadership is familiar to her nervous system. What she craves is not hierarchy, but balance. In psychology, this is called mutual regulation, the shared exchange of responsibility. Not dominance, but emotional reciprocity. True leadership in relationships is not about power, but attunement. It is the skill of reading someone's emotional landscape without eclipsing it. It is the presence that says, I am here, and you don't have to navigate alone. Autonomy and surrender are not opposites. They are phases in healthy bonding. Just as breath requires both inhale and exhale, consider the nervous system. When danger is sensed, the body tenses, prepares, protects. When safety is sensed, the body releases, not because it is weak, but because it feels secure enough not to fight. A woman who softens in the presence of another is experiencing a biological response, relief. The feminine longing to be led is not about obedience. It is about the gift of rest. Rest from vigilance, rest from carrying every decision, rest from being the emotional compass for everyone else. Science calls this load sharing, the psychological benefit of shared responsibility. When trust exists, stress lowers, and the nervous system returns to ease. This does not erase her independence. It restores her balance. Many women who desire gentle leadership have secure attachment at their core, or a wish for it. They do not fear strength in others. They only fear the misuse of it, because they know the difference between a partner who leads with presence and a partner who leads with control.